A change to the Centers for Disease Control's COVID-19 quarantine guidelines is hopeful news for businesses struggling to stay open during the pandemic. The standard 14-day in isolation has now been cut down to 7 to 10 days under certain circumstances.
Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis joins us live with reaction from a Springfield restaurant forced to shut down for 2 weeks about a month ago due to a coronavirus outbreak. Leon?
Jordan, Chris, Red Rose closed for 14 days out of an abundance of caution to stop a potential spread of COVID-19. But now, if an employee does get sick, they could potentially be out of work for only a week.
On our end right now, as soon as somebody calls in and says, oh, I don't feel well, we don't even hesitate. We're like, look, you're not coming back to work until you either have a COVID test, and obviously if it were to ever come back positive, we made them stay out for 14 days.
That 14-day quarantine forced Red Rose to close down completely back in October due to COVID-19 cases impacting employees at the restaurant. Under new guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention this week, that quarantine time may be cut down to 7 to 10 days. Rita Caputa Capua, a manager at Red Rose, tells Western Mass News this gives them more flexibility when an employee gets sick.
We're only able to call back a handful. So the ones that we have are the ones that we count on. Now you take 1 or 2 out of the equation and you're stuck a little bit because we may not have anybody to cover for them. So 14 days obviously is a lot harder than the 7 to 10.
Red Rose has followed all of the CDC guidance since the pandemic began. Their tables are spread appropriately apart, and all staff wear masks, and when an employee tests positive for COVID, they must report it to the Springfield Department of Health and Human Services.
Like if all of a sudden they got 10 names from Red Rose, they're going to call my brother and say, Tony, you know, we suggest that you close down for at least 3 days, get the restaurant, I think 3 days is the norm, get the place sanitized, which we would do immediately.
Bay State infectious disease doctor Esteban Del Pilar tells Western Mass News this 7 to 10 day quarantine is not a free-for-all. 7 days, then I'm done.
You need to wait at least until day 10, at least here in Massachusetts. You need to make sure that you have a test that's done on day 8 or later, that test is negative.
Dr. Del Pilar adds, even when you come out of that 10-day quarantine, you must still check your temperature the next 4 days to ensure that you don't develop any symptoms. Live in Springfield, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.